If you're new to the field of transportation, or if you've recently taken on higher levels of responsibilities in this field, it'll be very beneficial for you to fully understand the whole process of project development and execution. Briefly, this program will introduce you to that process and hopefully prepare you to better handle the challenges you'll face in transportation project management. In recent years, transportation projects have become more complex and costly than ever before, and this of course applies to tribal transportation projects as well. No longer is the process a simple matter of just building roads and bridges. In simplest of terms, it can be said that all transportation projects must attain the following goals: be completed on time and within budget, meet quality standards, and achieve an agreed upon scope of work. It is the project manager's job to incorporate these factors into all phases of a transportation project. Broadly speaking, the phases of a project are simply 1. Planning, 2. Design, and 3. Construction. But as we'll see, a transportation project is not always as easy as 1, 2, 3.
As a project manager, I think the first thing you need to do when you start out is to set up the general outline of the records you're going to keep, because that documents the project from the beginning to the end. And if you have a rudimentary or a file system organized so that you can track the correspondence, the meetings between you and the contractor, and what was agreed upon and what was not agreed upon, and then the materials they're delivered, and the tests that you run, and that you have this complete package so that when you get to the end, then it's just you just kind of close up the folders and send the binders in, then I think that would make your life a lot easier.
Cost, schedule, and budget are a very important part of what the project manager is responsible for. We're constantly monitoring that we also understand that at the very early stages of the project, the cost and the schedule have a lot of variability in it, and we try to account for that. We've, over the years, added in for contingencies. We know that cost escalation is just a normal part of it, but there's also a lot of unknowns at the early stages of a project. And we're continually refining the cost estimate and the schedule as we go through the process.
Transportation planning is essentially the process of identifying transportation needs and looking for solutions to those needs. We'll be examining this topic in more detail in another program of this series. During this phase, more specific project plan sheets are created, along with detailed specifications and time and cost estimates. Together, these new documents are known as PS&E documents for plans, specifications, and estimates. Project design is usually carried out in 2 subphases, known as preliminary design and final design.
Once they've decided to build a road, it's on their long-range transportation plan. They've updated their priority list. They've submitted a tribal resolution that states, we've done all the planning we can on this road. We would like it scoped out and move into the design phase. A tribe would then decide whether they want to do the design of that contract or they want the Bureau to do the design. If a tribe does not have an engineer on staff, they can elect to take those design funds and subcontract that work out to an A&E firm.
The way I approach a project is, somebody says, hey, I want you to design something, and so the first question you want to ask is just get the specifics of what the project is and develop a really concise and detailed scope of work, that kind of lays out what your project is, when you want to have it done, and really most importantly, how much money do you want to spend. And something that lays out all of the tasks the deliverables, what you're going to produce, when you're going to produce those, and who's going to be involved with that project. And I usually call that a work plan. So we develop a work plan that includes the task and the people that are going to work on those tasks. When they have to have something done, a certain deliverable, say it's a drawing or a specification. And then with that, though, you attach a budget.
Please note that many projects suffer major delays when it comes to obtaining the permits needed to acquire public rights-of-way and PS&E clearances to comply with archaeological and environmental laws. Bridging the design and construction phases of a project is the contractor procurement phase, often handled by a BIA or tribal contracting officer, who advertises the call for bids, supervises the negotiation for contracts, and awards construction contracts. Once contracts are awarded, then construction can begin.
If everything works perfect and timing is right, the design gets done, and often it takes a year and a half for a design of a road, depending on how big the road is or what it entails. Then we would move into construction, and that is a whole new negotiation phase to get accomplished. And we work together again based on the funds available. And that's where I come in, is managing up the project. It's really the project management begins and ends with the contract, basically.
The beginning of construction for an Indian Reservation Roads project would begin at the stage where the plans, specifications, and estimates, otherwise known as the PS&E documents, are approved by the regional office. That would be signed off by the area roads engineer and the lead design engineer and the agency engineer. And that gives us the plans and specs to build a project with, as well as an estimate to a baseline for price. And at that stage we go to the tribe and we work out whether we're going to do a 638 contract where the tribe will be the general contractor and the Bureau will be the, in that case, owner, or whether or not the tribe would like the Bureau to do the construction work on their behalf, and then we would go out and get a general contractor.
Once contracts have been awarded, a notice to proceed is most often sent to the project manager or engineer, along with the proposed construction start date. Then a pre-construction conference is held between all interested parties, which may include the contractor, the tribe, BIA representatives, the designer, the construction engineer, utility providers, and other jurisdictions that may be involved or affected by the project.
So the first thing we do for construction is conduct a pre-construction meeting, and at that meeting we set the tone for the project as to what the expectations of the parties are that are performing the work. Typically at the pre-construction meeting we'll go over the safety, go over the plans and specs and discuss those and make sure there aren't clarifications that need to be made. We'll collect the necessary documents, submittals for the project that need to be collected. Usually it's a couple weeks by the time the contractor has to get his bond and his insurance together. He's got a little bit of time before he can actually get to work in the field, and that gives us a little bit of time to review submittals. And then at that stage, with the submittal of the performance and payment bond and the other necessary submittals prior to construction, at that stage then we're actually ready to go out and begin construction in the field.
During the construction phase, the project manager is called upon to monitor and coordinate multiple and costly project elements, including permits, equipment, personnel, schedules, delivery, and quality of construction materials, and ongoing documentation.
One of the surprising things in the projects to a lot of the first-time transportation planners that may be involved in the level of the management of a construction project is the level of details that's required to go through the different information that's presented on a project. So, for instance, on a road construction project, when you have submittals, if just the sheer volume of paperwork to handle that submittal to get it back to the region to review for the BIA, or it may be a state agency that's doing the review. Another thing that becomes a little overwhelming to first-time managers is the sheer number of contractors, subcontractors that may be on site at any single time, and to try to manage and coordinate their work and get that to come together in a smooth operation so that people are scheduled so that when their forces arrive, they can be the most productive on the project as they can be. Quality control is one of the areas of the construction project that can also take a lot of time to manage. In the quality control, it starts with the project submittals. When you talk about quality control, there's two aspects, and generally the tribe will be handling more of the quality assurance aspect than the quality control, which is up to the contractor to make sure he provides you with a product that meets the specifications. And then from the other side is the quality assurance, which the agency or the tribe will handle to make sure that the product meets its proper specifications after it's installed.
You've heard the old saying, the job's not finished till the paperwork's done. That quote was probably invented by a transportation project manager, because it certainly applies to transportation projects.
The key thing to a successful project and a successful contract, they go hand in hand, is documentation and communication. From cradle disregard some input that you received from a stakeholder. The other aspect is that we're constantly being challenged in the court system. Those court challenges come, and a good administrative record helps to support that you made the decisions based on rationale, and you have a good justification, and that you've incorporated you've talked to the people that you needed to talk to for the process.
The two things I try to accomplish during the project are, one, safety. I got to maintain safety for the user, and the other one is protect the owner, and that would be the tribe, and to make sure that he doesn't have to buy the same object 5 years from now, because this is something he's made a substantial investment in, and it should last 25 years. So I guess my primary objective is to protect the user and protect the owner.
For more information about effective project management, or to receive literature about training opportunities in this field, contact one of the agencies listed at the end of this program or in the accompanying materials. We hope this presentation has been helpful in putting you on your own pathway to transportation project management. Thank you.